What's up, y'all? I am having this revelation in real time. Well, I started having it during therapy today, and it's crystallizing. And so in its crystallization, I was like, I can't be the only one. And so I want to share it with you all because I know somebody else is going through it right now, particularly as we're experiencing this, these holiday season activities and time with family. And, we all have these complicated relationships with our families of origin and life right now and all of its complexities. And so here's the deal. I had an incredible holiday, beautiful. I came home to Pennsylvania and I spent it with my family. I spent it with my best friends of 35 years and their children. I had, a child in my house on Christmas morning, which has been forever. He woke me, Auntie, let's open the presents. And I hosted a brunch, and the family came, and I gave out gifts, and we ate food, and we sang Silent Night together. It was really beautiful, full of love. And the other night, as I was going to bed, this actually was the night after I hosted the brunch. I started watching the story of a man, content warning, really awful, terrible things. I started watching the story of a man who, abused his wife and then killed all 4 of their children. I won't go into the details of it. And I came across it on YouTube, and then I decided to just deep dive into it the night before Christmas. And then yesterday, before bed, I started watching a video about the 6th mass extinction, which is looking imminent in 2100. I was watching the most dark, morbid, awful, terrible things. And I used to have a penchant for watching just calamity television, calamity trauma porn. And it usually wasn't interpersonal trauma porn. It was usually global scale, we're all gonna die reality TV, right? Docu-series about how the planet's gonna end or what horrible reality is gonna befall us. And I was like, that's so weird. And then I had therapy today. And I was, sort of doing this practice that I do with my therapist where I get curious about where an emotion is coming from and what's underneath it and where it lives in my body. And in this practice today, this existential dread, this, presence to loving people, and it came to children, and then it came to the whole world, all this feeling of love, and then really quickly what washed in was calamity and dread. And then after that I went to the gym, and as I was at the gym, it sort of, the penny dropped, as my friend Katarina says, and I was like, right. And Brene Brown talks about this. Shout out to Brene. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if you see this. She talks about how we're always hedging joy, right? It's the thing we're most afraid of is joy. And because the immediate thought is it being taken away. And so what we do is we don't ever let joy fully in because we think it's going to protect us when the inevitable sad loss, grief shows up, hurt, right? And so, not even intentionally, very subconsciously, very by default, I experienced beautiful joy and peace over this holiday. Maybe one of the most peaceful, joyful holidays that I've had in years and years and years and years and years. Certainly since before my mother died. So that's a decade. and a couple of years before my mother died. So we're probably 12 or 13 years. And I keep going back in my brain like, nope, further back than that. Anyway, I felt this incredible sense of peace and joy. And the default mechanism in me was to begin to prepare for calamity. Not to just be present with joy, but to begin to prepare for calamity. And I believe to some extent, most of us do this. Certainly most of us who have been conditioned inside of societies and life circumstances that have a lot of pain and trauma in them. We don't trust joy, right? And part of what I'm learning in this season, right, the practice of resting as awareness, the practice of life, just being life, is that all of it is impermanent. All of it. And if I don't need to race towards the other thing, because it will come. Right? Like, I don't need to race towards grief, because grief will show up, nor do I need actually to race towards joy, because joy will show up. I don't need to race toward anything, because racing is not the present. Racing is trying to get someplace or trying to get away from someplace. It is positioning myself in relationship to a past or in relationship to a future, as opposed to in relationship to the now. Because here, it's just here. And if I can stay here, and literally I've been in therapy for 12 years, 13 years almost, practicing this. Can I just stay here? And my mind was like, no, we can't stay here. We're happy. Must look at murders and global annihilation. No, we can't stay here. Must go to murder and global annihilation. As opposed to saying, here, if I stay here, no matter where here is, I'm gonna be fine, because there's actually not anything else going on in any given moment except whatever is happening in that given moment. There's nothing. My therapist said, Gangaji, some spiritual leader, I can't remember which one, she always name dropping spiritual leaders, said, he said, only one of three things is happening. Either you're sitting, you're standing, or you're lying. That's it. Right now I'm sitting. That's it. There's nothing else. And the only time, the places where suffering exists most verdantly are the places where I am someplace other than right here, right now. And so I just want to share that with you all, in case you, me too, have felt joy, and then your brain was like, must run off to calamity races. Must run off to... There are so many deer everywhere. In this particular neighborhood, they're always in my front yard, they're in my backyard. There are lots of deer around here. In case your brain is also off to the races about the horrible thing that's going to happen because something good happened. I just want you to come back with me right now, to just right now, and be here. Wherever here is, can you just be here? And if we choose to be here together, all of it gets easier. All right, I just wanted to share that with y'all. Much love.